just love that. I feel like you're the only person I can do that with. You're the only person who I can be like the night before, Bella, let's do a podcast. And you'll be like, yeah, let's start tomorrow.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome on in. This is our
to the TMi MOM podcast.
Yeah, first ever episode. I'm one of your hosts, Bella.
She also goes by Sleeping Bella on social media, just FYI.
Yeah.
And I'm Loona Romy, and I go by Loona on non-social media.
Non-social media. All the time. But pretty much all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And so much so my husband even calls me Loona.
Yeah,
he calls me by my real name. I'm like, who are you talking to?
Everyone calls me Bella now, so it's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. This is the when your internet life becomes your real life. So
yeah, pretty much.
And
y'all just merge together.
Today we are just wanting to do, I guess, just an intro to.
Yeah. So basically, this is the TMi MOM podcast, and as the title may let you know, we share too much information. I feel like we're both chronicle oversharers.
Yeah.
Something about ADHD and stuff, and all their neurodivergencies. And so this is what basically the podcast is going to be. It's just going to be two moms oversharing the heck out of each other's lives. It's great. And we're going to explore a topic today. But yeah, we are streaming this live on Twitch on Bella's channel. That's twitch.tv/sleepingbella every second Tuesday, probably, hopefully. And every week that it's not on Twitch, I will be uploading it on Spotify and YouTube. And if iTunes stops being a pain in the butt, maybe iTunes too. But right now it's being a pain in the butt. So I don't like it.
That sounds like Apple for you.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I don't know what I was expecting. But yeah, if you join us on Twitch, you may actually see that we're going to be like, we're going to be basically balancing out the anxiety of sharing too much information with cozy games. So today we're actually playing Palia.
Yeah.
And that's going to be on Twitch, and anybody watching this on YouTube, you'll probably see it as well. But we're going to be just doing cozy little things. So if you're over on Spotify, you're not going to be missing that much, honestly.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just my face. But, if you really want to see my face or Luna's awesome avatar VTuber, then you just head on over and take a gander and then be like, yeah, I wasn't missing anything. So.
She looks really pretty. So honestly, you're missing out. It's fine. Not me trying to give, listener FOMOs or anything. It's fine.
Maybe just a little FOMO. It's fine.
Just a little bit. It's okay. It's all right.
I feel bad for the people in chat and the party members who are going to get ignored for the next
left
45
behind
minutes to an hour. Sorry about that. We did switch a small disclaimer, though. I honestly think we'll probably make like a TMi MOM Stardew Valley or something where it's like, this is our
absolutely
single player, and we do this so people aren't like, Bella, over here, we got a thing, hurry up, and I'm just ignoring them. I feel bad, but
you guys dismissed a rainbow butterfly plush because you guys were just talking. Wonder what that's like.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll explore that those feelings later and where they come from. They sound made up. Fake news.
Definitely made up. Fake news. Yeah, it didn't happen.
So we the background for this podcast, I've told chat here already, basically is that we have talked about doing it for over a year now. We had set up time to try to record it. We just ended up chatting basically in Discord instead of recording. And and then life happened. Baby, toddler, and me trying to move, all of that just kind of took over. So when you had your coffee fueled Monday and we're like, let's do this, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
So as of Sunday, I had no idea that I was going to start doing a podcast this week. But this is
we
how we roll.
Brought it up casually on stream last week on your birthday. We're like, oh yeah, let's do a podcast.
And then 3.5 hours.
Yesterday was like, let's do it. Let's go. Come on, here. Look, I still have the logo. I still have everything. What time works? Tuesday. Okay, cool. We'll see you there.
Yeah, Tuesday. Let's just do it. And I understand your Tuesday is very busy this week, so we're kind of not really in a rush,
oh my God,
but get it done so she can move on to the next item scheduled in her day.
Yeah. I will say I kind of confused my days a little bit because the thing that I thought was happening before the podcast was actually not happening before the podcast today.
Okay. So not as bad. Not as bad as you thought.
It's not as bad.
Okay.
No. But
good.
The other appointment, I went to do my orthoprosthetic appointment thingy. That took a lot longer than I anticipated, which I was not happy about.
Doctor's appointments tend to take a lot longer.
Yeah. Well, especially when they don't listen to you.
Which is most of the time for most people.
90% of the time.
That sounds like a topic for another day, though, because today we wanted to focus on basically what the thought behind this podcast was. What was it? Yeah. What was it that made you come to me and be like, Bill, let's do this? And I was like, okay, cool, let's go.
I mean, I think it was before. Was it while I was pregnant when I first brought it up to you?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I was very pregnant and I was very done with everything. And to me, Bella's like the one person that I feel like she understands. Like I can go to Bella with anything and she'll get it. She'll have either been there herself or she'll just let me vent the heck out of her ears. But she gets it. She understands, and she doesn't sheer from oversharing. Something about having 3 kids. I don't know. And I tend to struggle with finding the line between like what is okay sharing and what is considered as like TMI. So a lot of the topics that Belle and I end up talking about for hours on end up being in the TMI category.
For your average Joe, right?
Yeah. I feel like for your average Joe, it's like, whoa.
Well, and even some family members shy away from these conversations, as you and I have experienced, or I definitely have experienced, where it's like, these are normal things that need to be talked about by somebody.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So, one man's TMI is another, like, the bread of friendship.
And I think like us as like a society, we need to share more TMI. We need to do more oversharing, because I feel like personally there's so many times in my life where I have felt weird or just awkward, out of the norm, whichever word you want to use for it, plenty because nobody speaks about said topics. I'm like, oh, this is not normal. I'm not normal. What I'm feeling right now, what I'm going through right now is not normal. And fact of the matter is that so many people might be going through just the exact same thing as you are going through, but nobody talks about it because, oh, this is oversharing. This is TMI. This is too private. Right? Like that's
That's how they feel. And I think that's a boundary everyone's allowed to set. Like if you're becoming friends with someone and
like,
they're
this
basically
too much for me, yeah.
This is too much. I cannot. Please do not tell me about your surgery.
If you want to become my friend, then
your digestive system. Like we don't. Bodies actually don't exist in my. Like you can set that boundary, and we're not trying to squash that. We're not trying to encroach on people's comfort, or at least not completely. But I do feel like we've gotten we've gotten so far away from talking about what's normal. Like, it's normal to poop. And when I had to start talking to my kids about poop all the time, like, don't eat it, don't play with it, please put it in the toilet. And then, later it's, is it healthy? Is it water? Like, constantly talking about poop for like 15 years. I had never said the word penis in my life. I would have died. And then I had a little boy, and I think I said penis more in the first 4 years of his life. Hands off your penis, please, because I didn't want to say wee wee or willy or your no bits, whatever people say. I just wanted it to be like, yeah, that's a penis. We don't play with it and then put our hands on people. Like, gross, please. So just things like that. Sure, that's not polite dinner conversation, but I don't know that we should be in a society where we shy away from like calling body parts what they are. There's a nickname for every single body part.
Isn't it crazy? Like, in a way, isn't it just wild that there's a nickname for every single body part?
Well, it's
and not just a singular one. There's multiple nicknames for every single body part.
I do it in a fun way, right? Like, if we're just being silly, like, oh, that's my no zone, or what, like we're being funny. But when you're talking to kids and having them grow up, if they've never heard the word vagina, I've never heard my parents say the word vagina ever. I have a vagina. We should be allowed to talk about this in the appropriate context. And that's something I'd like to kind of break down, where it's like, I don't want to talk about like, oh, down there, oh, my secret zone. Like, I want to know, like, what's happening. Your doctor needs you to be able to talk about this if you have issues.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my
probably
God.
Goes into why we're so like, we need to be able to talk about things. We have so many issues. We have such a hard time getting doctors to understand us in the first place. We're like, no, we need very clear language. And that's not happening from people who maybe just, they don't ever have to talk about it. Like, they're like, I don't know, nothing ever bad, nothing ever happens down in there. So we don't need to name it or talk about it. It's, she who will not be named, I guess, whatever. So,
but yeah. And actually on that topic of like, saying, never having said penis before, or feeling like, oh, you have to say down there instead of vagina and stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I myself, it's stupid, but I think because of how much of a taboo the society in general puts on those body parts, or to speak of those body parts, I myself have felt uncomfortable saying vagina or penis, and that's so stupid. Like, it's so silly because these are body parts. There's nothing else to it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's, and
welcome to TMi MOM.
Yeah, we're starting out real strong here.
You're right. I love this. This is great.
This is what we do in our own groups, and honestly, like, our reach is only as far as people are interested in this topic. Because if people are still like, no, we're not doing this, we're not talking about this, we're not doing this, we're not going to get listened to, nobody's going to hear us, we're not going to have much further reach. But at least we're trying, we're putting it out there. We're attempting to kind of pull back some of the shame, unnecessary shame and discomfort with very basic conversations. And it's important for a lot of reasons. Delisha27 in chat says, I cannot recommend enough the book, The Birds, the Bees, and the Elephant in the Room, Talking to Your Kids About Sex and Other Sensitive Topics by Rachel Kohler Mulholland. I can't pronounce names, so sorry for butchering it, but
that's how I would say it.
Yeah, that looks like a really good suggestion. Thank you.
I've heard of that book before. I've never read it yet, but
I think I might read it. But I'm not gonna. I've been really open with my kids, which has taken a lot of work, but because it's not my default. But yeah, like, it's always good to have more knowledge here. So I'm just gonna,
we never really spoke about, like, growing up in my household, we never really spoke about sex and stuff. We just, everything I knew from school. And we did have pretty good sex ed, but I know that's not the case everywhere. But yeah, we had pretty good sex ed, but everything I knew from school. There was like nothing, it was just not something we talked about. It wasn't something that got directly shamed. It was just something that, we don't talk about this. you know, it's private kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like one of the first things that I thought was very interesting when my oldest went to kindergarten. She had this like circle, and it was teaching the different levels of intimacy. So you have your inner circle, you have your people that are on your outer circle, that could be like aunts, uncles, grandparents, and then you have the further out, and it discussed appropriate like levels of touch, levels of like things you can talk to these people about, what you can expect as you get into your further out circles, basically. And I can't remember how many levels there were, but I just really loved that we're starting to talk to kids about like, here's your parents and your siblings, and you should be able to tell them anything. And here's your teachers and your grandparents and your aunts and uncles. And you know, you can tell them lots of things, but your parents are the first people you go to. And then, you know, like it was such a good conversation to see them start having, where we're acknowledging that like, yeah, like you're always allowed to know your level of comfort with intimacy, but don't expect like the janitor of the school can't expect to give you hugs and kisses. That's something that you can say for your mom and dad. Like, but that's not something that kids were told. They're told to respect adults, right? And we saw that created a whole problem where these kids were going off with adults they shouldn't trust. Bad things were happening. And now we're teaching them how to listen to the adults you should trust, what to like red flags in adults. That was not something we got taught as kids. Our kids are getting getting taught red flags for you know, adult behavior. What is not acceptable? What is not something that you have to put up with in these adults that are not in your inner circle? So I think that that is such a good way to also put the TMI, right? Like your parents, you should be able to talk about anything. And you should be using proper terminology. If your friends refer to their down there places of bajingos and willies, and they aren't comfortable with you using the V word or the P word, then yeah, you should hold back. You shouldn't make them uncomfortable needlessly. I have always told my kids though, like if you're ever in a situation where someone is touching your vagina or your penis, you yell it out. Don't touch my penis. Because that will throw people off, because they don't expect to hear that from a 4 or 5-year-old, right?
Yep.
Nothing like them shouting that out for people to look around and figure out what's happening here. Anyway, so like the levels of intimacy can also be applied to the levels of TMI. Of course, we are reaching out to people outside of our bubbles. So, you know, we'll just make sure you know this is what this is. If you don't want to hear it, please go do something else. Like, we love seriously, you, just appreciate you, but yeah.
I definitely have some I feel like we have some mutuals that will probably not vibe very well with this podcast, and that's fair. Like, you know, absolutely. there's so much media out there. You know, you consume whatever the heck you want to consume. I'm not doing this to make a buck off of it. I'm doing this because I want to give people a space where they can feel normal.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word, feel normal, because I so often haven't.
Well, that would be a good place for you to start like telling your side of it, because I feel like you'll tell where you're coming from with this, and then I'll give my spiel, and that probably will wrap us up for this first.
Yeah, I guess
your story.
For me it's mainly, I mean, I have a disability and stuff, sure, but physical disability. But for me, it's mainly I'm overweight. IRL, I'm overweight. Online, I'm a cute little fairy chibi, but on IRL, I am overweight, and I've struggled with my weight always. Like, I wasn't overweight when I was a kid. I was always a little. I wasn't like stick skinny. I wasn't super skinny, but I was, let's say, maybe, you know, slightly chubby, but not something you would consider overweight. And then I reached teenagehood. I was always slightly body shamed when I was younger. Like, I remember, oh God, I will never forget that. This is like I hate that this has become like one of those core memories that just doesn't go away. But for me, I remember being in the open air swimming baths in summer, and I was like maybe 8 years old. And this was so common practice back in the 90s and early 2000s. But I was there with my mom and a friend of hers and and her kid. And they were talking about their kids and their weight. And and I remember I quickly went back to the picnic place where we were at and to grab something to drink and stuff. And I caught them talking about it. And they were like, my mom's friend was like, oh yeah, let's call her Tina for the sake of it, like the kid. Tina really needs to lose some weight. Like when she's running, you can see the belly jiggle a little bit. That's not good.
On an 8-year-old.
And then my mom reached over to my tummy and stroked it and was like, yeah, Luna's tummy isn't doing that yet, so it's okay. She's a little bit chubby, but that's fine.
What?
And so that was like the first core memory I have of really publicly being body shamed. And it was a very normal thing because like back then, I feel like still nowadays, you know, if you're not a certain body shape, you are automatically less accepted in society than if you are, you know, ABC body shapes, right? Like we are still very actively learning that every body shape is beautiful in its own right and that you don't have to be a model to be pretty, right? I feel like that's still something that we're now more actively fighting for, but it still nags at us subconsciously. And so that for me, then like when I was a teenager, I got my period when I was like 13, I think 13 or like 13 and a half, something like that, for the first time. And I had like really strong and for a really long time. And it kept being like that for a few months. And then we went to a gyno and she put me on the pill.
At 13.
Now, some people at 13.
Oh my gosh.
Some people may be familiar with this pill. It was called the Jasmine pill. And later it came out that was actually very problematic and actually caused health issues in a lot of young women. So back then we didn't know that. So anyways, I got that pill and that started, I mean, I had my period as normal, obviously, as you do when you're on the pill. And then I took the pill for about 2 years and then she was like, okay, I think you can try to stop taking it now. And from that point on, it was more than 2 years, I think. But yeah, from that point on, I started gaining weight like crazy. And now I was an active child. I want to say that I was a really active child. We're talking like I did every sport possible that I could do, even like in despite of my disability and stuff. I was very heavily influenced by anime. So I 100% smashed myself to the ground, to the floor to be able to catch that volleyball, or, you know, I went all in. I had so many bruises and whatnot. It's crazy.
Well, something's never change. Anyway.
I was a very active child. Listen, active and clumsy are two different things, okay?
Well, anyway, carry on. Sorry, distracted, derailed.
I was a very active child. And despite that, I kept on just gaining weight. Like I was eating healthy more, even so because I was gaining weight. I was being put on diets, not really specific diets, just like eating naturally low carb, low fat, you know, kind of stuff, the usual. And
stuff we know is not healthy now. So
yeah, and I'm trying to, yeah, and so I did all that, and I did about 2-3 hours of like exercise a day, and it didn't matter what I did, I still just gained weight. Like it just kept on piling on and on and on and on. And cut to now, like back then when it first started, all the doctors I went to were always like, oh yeah, this is normal. We should look into what this is. Blah, 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 blah. And cut to now, nobody has ever looked into what this is. I still have a weight problem. I still gain weight no matter how much I exercise, no matter how healthy I eat, no matter what I do. It doesn't make a difference. I gain weight. And it's every day, it's a 50-50 whether or not something will end up giving me severe diarrhea. And I'm talking like pain, like really, really bad pain. And yeah, really bad bloating. And then just like, okay, well, I guess I'm just camping out on the toilet today. So something is clearly not right. And so many times I've just been told, oh, you're just lazy, you're just fat. Or you're just fat because you're lazy. And that has made me a lot of times feel like I'm crazy, like I'm making it all up, like this is all in my head. And and so I guess for me that is a big reason why I wanted to make a podcast like this. Not to have like a soapbox of me complaining about my weight, but like that is one example. I could go on for hours about all the other things that happened to me in my life that made me feel weird or not okay or unheard or you name it, and yeah, I'm not a doctor. I can't sit here and help anybody directly. I can't give medical advice in that sense,
Yeah.
But I can help you feel not alone, I think.
We're not doctors. We're
not doctors.
Treating anybody. We're not suggesting treatments. If we talk
we're also
about
not mental
our
health
treatments,
professionals.
We're talking about our treatments. And if it's something that maybe resonates with you, go talk to your doctor. That's always going to be our, like, recognizing that healthcare in the US sucks and talking to a doctor isn't always an option. If we can share things that you can try safely, that's wonderful. But otherwise, please consult a doctor. We are not doctors or mental health professionals. We have no degrees except for our MOMs. So, well, I guess I have an associate's degree, but
I studied psychology for 5 years.
Loona should have a degree with 5 years of psychology.
I do not. I went to college. I have a college degree, and then I dropped out of university because mental health is rough.
That's a funny thing. So another thing to note is that Loona is in the EU and I am in the US. And
well, EU, she means like Europe and the continent of Europe. I'm not in the European Union part of Europe.
You're in Europe. Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted to be specific. But the difference is, when I say college, I mean university, because we don't really have a college. We have high school, and so there will be differences of things. Just
well, but there's differences in the States too. So there's like community college, which is more general. No,
I mean, community college is still working towards your degree. So
okay,
it's just not as prestigious. Like the credits can transfer to a different university usually. If it's an accredited, it has to be accredited. So, but there are pretty. You could be pretty lax on your education and get the degrees you need to get jobs, or at least what we were told would get us jobs. So that's a different podcast. Anyway, so
it's a whole other pickle. No, can of worms.
Yeah, that's not we're gonna really struggle staying on topic. So this is gonna be something.
I mean, that's why we said like we'll pick a topic a week, maybe have a fallback topic just in case. But I don't think we're gonna struggle.
We're not going to struggle talking. I just feel like we're going to struggle staying on topic, So
what's the topic anyways?
We'll have to see. Maybe we will start a little game where we're like, how many times did they go off topic? And
also, talking about topics real quick, actually, I do want to say something. Sorry, I know you're about to start yours. I'm really sorry. We do have an email called tmimom.podcast@gmail.com. And if you guys ever want, you can totally like send us like questions or topics you'd like us to speak about. And I totally didn't speak about this with Bella earlier, so I hope
I know. I'm just like, oh, we do. We have an email. Awesome.
Yeah, I got up at 6 a.m. I made an email.
I will add that to one of my. I'll have it be TMi socials. And
oh, sorry. No, you're fine.
Are you okay? Oh, you caught something cool.
I got a plushie.
Oh, that's cute.
Toy plush.
That's cute.
Gaming and podcasting. It's great.
I know that's gonna be a thing. It's like, anyway, she caught a rare plushie. It's great. It's awesome. It's very exciting. Anyway, okay. So apparently we have the ability for you to send in things, stories you might want to have us discuss, or topics you might want us to explore. I love researching things. That kind of is a nice little segue into my bit here. So with my journey, which is long because I'm old now, but I've been on this health journey for so long, and there was just so many things that were like, we don't know what's wrong with you. We don't know what's wrong with you. You're probably just depressed. And so many antidepressants later, so many things later, we find out, yeah, I'm depressed because I have these chronic health issues. One of them being a very rare sleep disorder, for which there is no FDA, or there was no FDA approved medication. And
hey, for not us non-Americans, what is FDA?
Medications that the federal government has tested, has regulated, says is safe for consumers to use. It's not a very rigorous thing, but that's also a different podcast. Anyway, so basically it's the medications that insurance will cover. Because if a medication is made that works but is not indicated for your condition, insurance can say, nope, that is a trial and we don't pay for those. Like, that is experimental. We don't do that. So there were no medications approved. Nothing insurance would cover. So we had to find workarounds. And it was a long process, and I had to do as much research as my doctors. First, I had to find doctors who didn't scoff. Oh, what'd you do? Look it up on the internet? Yes. Would you like to see the journals of medicine that I was trying to comprehend while dealing with toddlers so that I could give you this information to tell you that this is something that's been at least attempted somewhere? Like, so I've gotten very good at doing research, but one of my biggest resources has been other people suffering with the same symptoms, getting the same results, having the same condition. In the time since I was diagnosed with, where I was looking in forums and reading on Facebook and finding people who are suffering with the same stuff, it's been 9 years. And in those 9 years, I credit the internet to this. I credit people speaking out and looking for help. They have actually created a foundation to help study this rare sleep disorder. And I'll have links for that coming soon. But the Hypersomnia Foundation. So, like, to see it go from something that, like, I had to dig for symptoms, and now you could type in idiopathic hypersomnia and there's a foundation that pops up. There's content creators who are talking about it. There's multiple forums on Reddit. Like, it is something that is being discussed. There has even been a medication approved for usage to help people with hypersomnia. It is, like, gratifying, and it is why I want to talk about these things. It's why I feel like it's really important to put it out there, because the more people are having conversations about it, the more people who are struggling are able to be like, oh, hey, here's someone with similar things. Here's someone who's talking about how they've gotten help for this. Here's somebody that's like, it just makes me feel seen and heard and normal. And I think shortly after I started streaming, and I did talk about my hypersomnia, I've talked about it off and on over the last 6 years, but I had someone message me, just one person, and she said, I want you to know that you give me hope, because I was diagnosed. We didn't know it was wrong. I have my diagnosis, and seeing you like trying, seeing you streaming, seeing you doing things, it gives me hope that I'll figure something out for me too. And so that's my motivation. That's what drives me. It's just even just one person who feels like they feel seen and heard because we're talking about this stuff, it makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, and I guess that's where the TMI bit comes from.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. And the mom bit, I think it's just, I mean, I wanted to do it before. When I first brought it up initially, that we didn't have a name yet.
No.
And then later on we talked about the name, and I thought TMi MOM, because this was postpartum period.
Yeah.
And I was struggling. Like, I feel like it's only been the past like couple months, 2-3 months, where I have started to feel like my own person again, which is a huge thing. That, you know,
absolutely.
When you're pregnant, so many times you hear, "Oh, just wait." Like, you're like, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm in so much pain. My legs are swollen. I have had acid reflux for the past 18 hours nonstop." True story, by the way, 18 hours. You know, and everyone's like, "Oh, just wait until the baby's born. That's when you'll find out how tired you can truly get and stuff." You get a lot of just waits and stuff. You don't get a lot of people actually, one, saying helpful things.
No, we're not very helpful.
No.
We're bitter. We're bitter because somebody didn't tell us. So we're like, "Oh, just you wait." Like, we'll just pass on this like negative experience.
Yeah. And I was really struggling postpartum. I'm pretty sure, I mean, I didn't go and get diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I had postpartum depression. And I spent so much time researching online, watching podcasts, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos. Like, so much postpartum stuff was consumed. And the amount of times I heard the same thing, and the rarity of times where I heard this very small, minor, unspoken thing that made me feel so incredibly heard and understood, and just like, "Oh my God, there's another person going through this. It made me feel like I will be okay." You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the TMi MOM bit came from for me, because I was a new mom. I was struggling. And whenever I talked to, except for Bella, whenever I talked to anybody else about the things I was struggling with, nobody got it. Nobody understood. I felt like I was the anomaly, you know? And that wasn't the case. It took me so much digging to try and find somebody else that I can relate to. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And I know
that's what I want to talk about. Like,
yeah,
you know, being a mom is rough. And Bella's an experienced mom, so she knows.
Well, I know I wanted to move away from, I think you had this like moment too where you're like, "Oh my gosh, all I do is listen to Miss Rachel, and it's like I want to go be an adult." So when I started streaming, I had no intention of making it be like a mom personality. Streaming wasn't supposed to be like, here's me, I'm such a mom, ha ha ha, but I guess I just kind of give off like preschool teacher vibes, kindergarten teacher vibes. So it just kind of became a thing where I was actually collecting some young people around me who were like, "Oh, you know, like, give me some mom advice." And I wanted to lean away from that, but I'm okay with leaning into it, knowing how much people struggle and how much they just need to hear like some normal mom stuff. Like, gosh, we're a mess. We're a mess. Moms are a mess, and you need to know that it's
half of it.
It's okay. I do know the half of it. I probably know the whole of it. Moms are a mess. And that's the thing. Like, you're saying you don't even know the half of it. It's like, no, literally, we probably both know. We know. We know the nitty gritty.
Oh,
we know the 3 weeks without properly showering. We know how bad it can get, and it's normal.
I mean, personally, that's one of the things that I feel very blessed with. when I was so I had a C-section, right? And when I came home from the hospital, it was planned that my mom would be staying with us and stuff, and that she'd be helping. And I am so incredibly grateful for that, because I know postpartum is rough. I don't know how it differs from C-section, but with my disability that I have, and just to quickly touch on this, I have a walking disability. My hip and my thigh didn't develop properly in my mom's womb, so I'm basically missing that whole bit. And it's basically, I have my half hip, I'm gonna say in a really bad way, but yeah, I have like half a hip, and then it's just my lower leg with a little foot. That's it. That's all I have. So I have a orthoprosthetic so I can walk. And having a C-section. So during the C-section itself, like the surgery itself, was amazing. It was such a I would do it again. Like, if it was just a surgery, I'd be like, yeah, sure, let's go. Cut 7 layers of me open. This is fine, whatever. Because you don't feel anything. It's such a weird feeling that it's almost funny. I almost want to experience it again. But I don't want to experience the after bit, because the after bit is hell. It feels like you are being burned alive. That's like the only thing that I can describe it as. It burns so badly when you get up, and you have to push through that pain. And now, because of my disability, I had more doctors around me than what you usually have, and I stayed at the hospital a little bit longer than what you usually do. And they were a little bit more careful, a little bit more mindful, because you are being cut into I don't even know what that part of the body is called. Waist? Below your waist?
Abdomen.
Above your waist?
Yeah.
Abdomen, that's it. Thank you. You are being cut there. And that's right around where the muscles, it's where you use the muscles to move your legs. And now, with one of my sides, I have this whole prosthetic, about 3 kilo. I don't know what kilo is in freaking pounds. You'll have to see.
We have to keep a converter up for these conversations.
It's like a 3 kilo thing that I have to carry around with, on top of being cut open 7 layers. It's a really invasive surgery, and you just have to get up and get going.
It's like 6.5
And during
pounds.
that time, 6.5 pounds, yeah. And during that time, I had my mom here, and I was so grateful, because I was so limited in the way that I could move. And I was able, my husband was home. He took some time off work so he could help me shower. Like, they were here for me. And as much as I know, the newborn baby is obviously important, and people should be fussy about the newborn baby too, but the mom is just as important. Because if you are going to just put the mom on the sidelines and oh, whatever, she'll figure herself out, she's going to take way longer to recover, if she's even ever going to recover. It's up until, I want to say, a month ago, I still had sensitivity and pain around my C-section scar. It takes a hot minute. And something that people never told me about is that my lower belly, anything below my belly button, I have lost sensation. That doesn't have to happen to you.
Is that normal?
If you have a C-section,
like an average?
It happens.
Okay.
It's an average thing. It can happen. I didn't know that. That's something I did not know.
I mean, anytime
nobody told me
surgery, you can lose sensation around incisions.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm starting to kind of. I'm starting to kind of get some feeling back if I pinch it.
Oh, that's lovely.
But I have to pinch it really hard. So there's
that's a thing to find out. I could feel it if I just hurt myself. Yeah,
if I hurt myself,
it doesn't actually hurt, but I can almost feel it. That's wild.
A few months after the C-section, I was like, I want to see how hard I have to pinch myself for me to actually feel something. And I pinched myself hard enough that I did bleed. Not on my C-section scar, but I'm dumb. Okay, I pinched myself with my nails. And so I broke skin, obviously.
Obviously.
Just
picturing you digging into your you're crazy. That's crazy.
It didn't hurt. I saw blood and I was like, yeah, I should probably stop there, huh?
Anyway, Loona over here torturing herself to just see if she can feel anything anymore. Yeah.
As you do.
As perfectly
Please
healthy,
don't.
normal people do
Please
all the
don't.
time. It's wild. It's wild. Well,
So, yeah.
I mean, and there's going to be a lot of different, like every pregnancy is different.
Absolutely.
And I can't remember.
And I don't want to scare people. I don't want to scare, like, if you're about to be a mom and you're choosing to do the C-section stuff, you know, don't be scared. I mean, that's so stupid to say. I mean,
we're not telling you these
gonna
stories.
Shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, we're not telling you these stories to scare you. That's the big thing that I've wanted women to move away from, is like telling these horror stories and like to pregnant people. Like, let's not do that.
Stop watching videos before I gave birth, because I was like, before I went to the C-section, because I was like, I cannot. I got really scared. Like, oh, this can happen, and well, I guess we're oversharing. This is a very, 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 very low chance of happening. Okay, so don't freak out. But if they put the needle in your back, the long, freakishly scary needle in your back, so that you don't feel anything, right? And if they poke you the wrong way, it is possible that you could get paralyzed, but this is a very extremely low chance. Okay? And they're very careful. And when you're sitting on a table, they ask you every step of the way what is happening, how you're feeling. They're there for you. So, you know, just be vocal about it, and you'll be more than fine.
That's Luna's experience.
Yes.
That's Luna's experience. Do you want to hear my experience with my second? So I had epidurals for every pregnancy. I had epidurals for every pregnancy, every birth. I wasn't going to do for the last, but this is the story of my second epidural. And I was about like 4 hours in. When you're being induced, the contractions are much more intense, much more painful. And so as for the epidural, they had mistakenly written down that I was allergic to lidocaine. So they would not numb the area around the epidural. They went to give me the epidural, and because it was not numb, I jumped. Like, shoulders back, spasmed. They hit something.
Did they warn you that they weren't going to use, like, numbing?
Yeah, they told me they couldn't and it would be okay.
Oh, lovely.
So I moved a little. They hit a nerve or something. To this day, that was 12 years ago. To this day, sometimes when I fall asleep, I will suddenly feel that happening over again. It's not as intense as it was for the first 10 years, where I would like just wake up, like,
just took 10 years,
like totally flailing my arms out, hitting my husband, waking him up, like, wah! Like I would like have a whole thing because I felt like it was happening again. So to this day, like, I can still have it happen. It's gotten a lot less intense where now it's like, it's more the phantom of what it was. But yeah, so they can cause problems, but I feel like issues like that are more common than, you know, being paralyzed or something like that. Just, I mean, that's still not a fun issue.
No,
that's still not a fun thing.
I don't want to scare anybody.
Well, it's stuff that people should go in with their eyes wide open. You should know that these are things that can happen, and it's I don't want to say like it's better than giving birth without an epidural, because I don't know. I never had that experience, but for me, I think it was. For me, the labors needed to be easier because the pregnancies were so hard. So, but
oh god.
Anyway, more to come on those things later, but I feel like we're going off on a tangent just a little bit. We're talking we're talking like really nitty-gritty details, and these are things that we should probably break up into a different topic.
Probably. This is just like the first episode, exploring the podcast with Bella and Loona.
It feels really chaotic. I don't know.
Oh my god, it'll be fine.
I'd like to think we'll get it together, but I honestly feel like what needs to happen is people who love our chaotic tangents, those are the people who need to find us. And everyone else, I'm so sorry. But also, what do you expect? If you've been around my stream where me and Loona group up like this, you know this is what you're going to get. You know it's just going to be a lot of random tangents and giggling and chaos. It's just chaos.
But... I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like... One of the biggest reasons why I was like, I think Bella should be the one to live stream it instead of me, was because I tend to keep things, I feel like, more PG than you on your stream. You tend to not shy away from important topics, right?
Well, yeah.
And I'm like, on my stream. So I was like, this is more a Bella live stream thing.
This
and
is
upload on my YouTube.
My unique brand of weird is that I really just want to have places where people feel like
she just wants to talk about her poop, people.
I just want to talk about my poop, okay? 24/7. Let's do it. We're changing it to poop, mom. I don't know. No, we're not changing it. Yes.
Bella's poop talks.
I honestly, like, it's not like I love talking about poop or I love poop, but like there's so much that comes down. You've ever seen the show Scrubs, right? I'm like getting really excited. Scrubs was a medical comedy show. I might be showing my age here.
I don't know if you're saying grubs or scrubs. Scrubs. SC.
Yeah, like the things doctors wear, Scrubs.
Loved Scrubs.
Okay, so there was that episode where the lady, it was a musical, and they're like, we need a stool sample, and the song was "Everything Comes Down to Poop." Our number one is your number two. You know, I promised I wasn't going to sing on these. Anyway, so basically, though, like that's so much comes down to they can tell so much about what's happening with you because of your poop. And if you're not pooping, it's a big deal. If you're pooping all the time, it's a big deal. The kind of poop you're pooping is a big deal. Like there's so much we can talk about poo. So yeah, maybe we'll have like a little spinoff. Bella Talks Poo. I don't know. Again, I don't love poo. I don't love dealing with it. But you know, it's such an important part of our lives, and we never talk about it.
I never talk about it. Hubby.
Well, that's good. That's normal.
I send him poop pictures sometimes.
That is TMI. That is absolutely. No. Hopefully it's a snap that disappears because I
it's a WhatsApp picture.
Okay. I got the app for you and then we never connected on it. So I actually don't know how WhatsApp works. Does it disappear?
It's such an American thing. What? You Americans, none of you know WhatsApp. It's so weird.
I don't know. Like we were all Skype for so long, and then it was, you know, like the wild west of video chat and conversations.
Right.
Yeah. So wait, is Yaya one of them? Is Yaya like a
No. Yeah, okay. It's me saying like
sure. I was like, I don't know. Like it really was. It felt like everyone was just Skype, and then suddenly it was like, do you have one of these 12 different do you have Discord? Do you have Vent? Do you have I don't even know all
TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak. Are you on
But no, I do actually send Clumsy
AIM, however you said that. That was a little bit before my time. So anyway.
I didn't know what that is. Sometimes when I have a really weird poop, I look at my poop. I look at my poop that I've done.
Okay, good.
Right?
Healthy. Normal.
Right? I look at my poop, and it looks really weird. I take a picture and I send it to my husband and ask, hey, does this look okay to you?
That is true love right there. Don't find yourselves Prince Charming. Don't find yourself somebody who will move heaven and earth for you. Find yourself someone that you can send poop pictures to and they still love you. Real love.
If it helps, I delete it later. Like once we've spoken about it, I delete the message.
I'm not actually
I don't
trying to shame you.
It there.
There's gonna be like shocking things you reveal to me that I'm like, oh, I'd never do that. And I need to remember that we're like, oh yeah, we want to share these things so people feel normal. And then we share stuff that maybe isn't normal, and we still have to be cool. We gotta be cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever do that. But I do remember getting like really shamed by my parents because I had taken a picture of the child's first blowout. Like, it wasn't meant to be shared anywhere. I wasn't posting it on Facebook, but I had a picture and it came up and they saw it. And they're like, oh my gosh, why would you take a picture of this? I'm like, because it's the first time that I've ever been taking care of a human and there's just excrement everywhere. And I want to remember the panic and the stress and the like, is this my life now? Feel like it was a memory. It was my memory. Nobody else needs to be part of that. I didn't
take a blowout picture or video or anything, but I remember like seeing several parents sharing their babies' blowouts.
Oh no!
And I was so terrified. Like, I was like with Livy, I was like, oh my god, I hope she's never gonna have a blowout like that. Like, I saw this, I will never forget. I saw this one aftermath video where the mom was sharing the car seat blowout.
Oh my gosh.
And it was everywhere. I mean, like, really everywhere. Like it looked like somebody just took a hose of poop and just sprayed the whole damn seat. It was, I'm not over exaggerating, it was everywhere.
All right. Well,
and I was like, how does that even happen?
I'm about to gag here.
You want a TMI? I'm giving you a TMI.
All right, but I'm gonna have a let's minimize the absolute description of the poop.
Okay, fair.
Like fire hose. Ugh. Okay, continue. But let's be more succinct.
And so I saw that, and I was like, I was terrified. I was like, I don't know what I would do in that position.
No.
I'm praying that my kid will never have that type of blowout because I don't know what I would. I guess I would just throw the whole car seat out, honestly. Like, I don't know what I would do.
You're not able to do that though. So you like put it in the bathtub and hose it down.
Oh god. Yeah.
Like,
car seats are expensive.
I absolutely get that horror though. Like, it's everywhere. And that's a moment I wanted to remember. Like, just this feeling of I have absolutely no idea what to do now. What do I do? There's poop everywhere. There's stuff everywhere. And it's the figuring it out. It's what you do in the next couple minutes after that where you're like, your child is uncomfortable. You've got this mess. Like, those are the moments that help us grow.
Test you.
Yeah, they test you and they help you grow.
They really test you.
And I think every parent goes through that. And we don't talk about it. I don't necessarily need to see poop pictures. Please, please, please do not send us poop pictures. I will block. I will ban. I will just delete everything and get off the internet and just stop existing because I don't need
podcast canceled on account of too many poop pictures.
Too many poop pictures. I also don't need to see any influencers or anybody's kids poop pictures. Like, I feel like if you're gonna do that, please put like this massive like warning screen that's like, warning, incoming poop.
Oh yeah, there was a trigger warning. Okay, but you know me with trigger warnings. I see a trigger warning, I'm like, well, no, now I really want to know what it is.
I have to see it. Now I have to see it. Absolutely. So yeah.
But luckily Livy never had a blowout like that. Like, I was just praying that would never happen, and it didn't, and I'm really, really glad. Because that was horrifying. It scarred me. I'm not that mom, and that scarred me.
I mean, here's the thing though. Here is the absolute heart of it. None of us are that mom until we go through it.
We are.
Like, yeah, like none of us are that mom. None of us is a mom that's got one poopy car seat under one arm, a screaming half naked child that's just vomited and pooped everywhere, just toughing it out, going to war with the stains and the mess and getting it all taken care of and getting it all figured out. None of us were born that mom.
No.
And that translates to everything. Like, if you see me and Loona talking about our healthcare issues, the things we've gone through, none of us were internet, Reddit, healthcare warriors looking up how to handle stuff, figuring out supplements, figuring out anything we can do until we were forced to go through it. Because your options are go through it, get it figured out, try to have the best life you can have, or wallow in the garden hose poop sprayed car seat, or get it figured out. So that's So
I do want to say, I know we've just touched on a few scary mom topics, I guess, but one of the things that I feel like I have learned in the past almost 2 years now is that you can do anything. And I really mean that. Like, I know that sounds really cheesy, but like, anything that life throws at you, you can, like, there's so many moments that happened in these like past 2 years of being a new mom and stuff that I was like, how the heck am I gonna do that? What am I gonna do? You know, you have, and it's okay. Have your little freak out, have your little cry if you need to have a cry. It's fine.
We've all done it.
You'll evolve and you'll handle it. It'll work one way or another. It will work and you will be fine.
Even the coolest cucumber mom that you've seen out there looking like she's killing it with her 8 kids, homeschooled, home crunchy meals, home makes all their clothes. Even she has sat in a closet and cried because it was hard and she didn't know
I have
she could
definitely
do it.
Sat in my room and I just cry because like it's just been too much. Like the momming that day has just been too much. Or like I've put Livy down for a nap and I went in the other room and I had a little cry because I'm like, I'm done. Mentally, I am done. But I also know that it's only nap time, meaning I have another like 8-9 hours to go, and it'll be
fine. You get it figured out. But the big thing is to know you're not alone. That's what it is. Not. You're not alone. You're not alone in any of it. You're not alone in the worst of it, and you don't just have to share the best of it. Because I feel like for so long especially with our modern day ways of sharing, we get the polished version of motherhood so much.
Yeah.
You see the Pinterest moms. That was, maybe that's too old of a reference, but like the TikTok moms. I was telling you just yesterday, I came across this TikTok. This mom is trying to show this dilemma of like kids' toys everywhere. But what she had was this little perfect, neat pile of toys sitting by the garbage can, and her perfectly clean kitchen floor, and her shiny, beautiful kitchen counters. My kitchen counters are covered in ketchup and raspberry jam until I go to make dinner. And then I clean it and then I cook, and then they're covered in stuff again until I go to cook dinner the next day. Like my kitchen floor, forget about it. Like I'll go take a picture of it right now. If your kitchen is that pristine, you are showing off an unrealistic expectation of what motherhood is.
Yes. Actually, that's really funny that you brought up the kitchen floor, because I remember God, about 20 years ago, I was just like, me and my ex had just gotten together at that point, and I was invited over to his parents' home, and they had busy lives. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids in total, and
a lot of kids.
Yeah, and I remember walking to the kitchen because I want to help with something and seeing the floor, and young Loona, in her, I guess it wasn't quite 20 years ago, but like 10-ish, yeah, I don't know. I was like, what, 18 years old? Yeah, I was like 18 years old. Yeah, and I was like, wow, this kitchen floor is disgusting. Had like some crumbs in it and some stains and stuff, you know. I was like, this is disgusting. I didn't say any of that, but that's what I thought. And I absolutely called my mom that night and I was like, Mom, you will not believe their floors. It is so nasty in there. There was like some crumbs and stains and da-da-da, this and that. And I have to cut back to the thing that in a way, there's a lot of things that went on in my childhood, but in a way, I guess you could say I was privileged because we did have a maid that did come 5 days a week to clean up. So I grew up in a very extremely clean household, like extremely clean household. So I was mortified.
Oh my gosh.
Cut to last week, my mom arrived on Sunday. And so on Friday we were cleaning. We always do a little spring clean before my mom comes because she's very tidy, which is fair, but you know. And I was cleaning the floor and I was thinking like, look at that. There's crumbs on the floor. There's stains on the floor. You know, and it's not the end of the world. And it's okay.
It is okay.
It's okay.
Well, because either you spend every ounce of your energy chasing them around, cleaning up after them, which is not going to bode well for them someday, or you are chasing them around and harassing them so they clean up after themselves, which again, like nagging them isn't going to help, you know? No. It really does come down to, are you living your life or are you just like keeping the house pristine? Because, you know, my house gets clean. We clean the floors not as often as we should.
Same.
But like the house is clean in turn. But
we have 3 cats and 1 dog and a kid. We vacuum twice a week and mop the floor maybe once a month. I'm not gonna lie. Like
I vacuum.
I have no spoons for mopping.
Or I have the kids vacuum. The kids are actually getting a lot better about chores. It's good.
Yeah, I can't get Livy vacuum yet.
Well, she can barely walk, right? So it's okay. Get her the little Roomba, the little mini vacuum for babies. Anyway, so I'll have the kids vacuum, and 5 minutes later, there's like a trail of white cat fur back on the carpet because the cat's like, oh, the carpet's clean. Rub, 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 rub. She just rubs off all her fur in a little pathway. So it's like
we don't have carpet.
Yeah. So. There's just nothing quite like having people living in a house and trying to keep it looking like a magazine. Showing my house. I showed my house for months there, right? And I had to keep the house looking clean. And it was exhausting and it was miserable because the house could look clean, but not be show ready. Show ready was, you know, quick in 2 hours. I'm going to get 8,000 steps and I'm going to break a sweat and I'm going to be exhausted. But the house will be great for the 5 minutes that somebody's looking at it. And it immediately falls back to being lived in, which is stuff out of place and stuff on the floor and the counter having watermarks, and it really is not worth it. It's not worth trying to keep up on it like that. But like Saturdays, we try to get the house nice and clean and make the kids help us with all of the family responsibilities. And I'm sure we'll get into like, you know, kids and chores and that kind of stuff on a different conversation. But it really does come down to not wanting the expectation to be that your house is going to look like a house that you're walking through considering to buy, because I still have 75% of my stuff in boxes. And oftentimes when somebody was coming over, I was like just running my hand on the counter and sticking everything in a box and shoving it in the corner until they left. Like, I can find those pictures from when I had my house on the market, and my house is not it's the same house. It does not look like that. So
yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of expectations on how a household should be, and it should always be pretty and always be pristine. But honestly, here, Mom, give your kid a childhood first.
Yeah.
Worry about the cleaning afterwards.
Or like, you know? It's prioritize, right? If you're someone who can do both, bless you. Like, please have fun, enjoy that clean house, but like, don't judge other people because you don't know.
Don't shame others. Yeah.
How much capacity they have. Like the spoon theory, I actually was surprised my little sister didn't know about spoon theory. So she was struggling to comprehend the spoon thing. So I've kind of shifted it over to like battery, basically.
Mhm.
So you don't know how much battery somebody has compared to you. Maybe you wake up with 60% battery. You think that sucks. You're going to run out of battery before the end of the stuff you need to do. But what if the person that you're judging has 5% every day? 5% battery to do all the things that you do with your 60% battery. And that's the real important issue, is that we're making people aware that we're not all on the same level. We all struggle with something somewhere, but it's different. It's unique to each person. So,
and that's why we're doing the TMi MOM podcast,
right.
so we cannot struggle alone.
Not feel alone.
So we can struggle together.
Struggle together. Yay! We're gonna struggle. Or what was it? That's the Harry Potter quote. You're going to suffer, but you're going to be happy about it. That would be us. We're going to suffer happily together. I feel like that's kind of a good place to
that's a good place to wrap. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us in our first episode of TMi MOM podcast. Like I said, we'll be live on Sleeping Bella's channel, twitch.tv/sleepingbella, every second Tuesday. And every other Tuesday, you'll probably catch us hopefully live on Spotify and on YouTube. YouTube will be on my channel. That would be youtube.com/LoonaRomy. And on Spotify, I don't know what our Spotify URL is, but it's TMi MOM. I know that.
We'll get all the links up somewhere. Discord, all that good stuff.
And Bella streams. How often do you stream, Bella? And where can people find you?
I am streaming Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, starting at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, going until I feel like stopping. And you can find me. I am on Blue Sky, and I am other places, but mostly Blue Sky. And I think that's just Sleeping Bella ZZ. So, yeah. Yeah.
I'm LoonaRomy. I stream 3 times for sure on Twitch. That's Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. May change up some of the days here and there as my toddler's daycare times change. But yeah, generally 3 times a week on Twitch. And then I also upload little clips daily on YouTube and on TikTok. It's LoonaRomy everywhere you can. Like it's there's no extra things, just LoonaRomy daily. Wow. Every single day.
That's amazing.
I hate it. No, actually, like I'm really proud of myself, not gonna lie. Like I scroll down my YouTube and my TikTok, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm doing this.
That is amazing. Straight up. So
and yeah, you can also find me on Twitter for now. Don't know for how much longer, and Blue Sky literally as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And outro music. Do 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 poop. Okay.